Long, long time ago, when the postal system was modernized, the chronically overworked Postmaster General overlooked two tiny post offices. One tucked away in the rolling hills of Somersetshire, the other somewhere in London. After unsuccessfully awaiting modernization, these two offices continued with their quiet lives until one day their daily routine was violently disrupted by the letters of Lady Susan, the most accomplished coquette in England. To avoid another scandal on social media, Lady Susan had now taken to letter writing, and her letters were eagerly expected by the two post offices through which all of these letters coincidentally passed. What with the secrecy of the letter no longer being what it used to be, Lady Susan's letters soon ceased to be private after all.
Patricia, dear, you're muted again.
Honey, your mic. Well, never mind. You cannot guess what I was saying. Okay. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Are we all here?
Good to see you so chipper, Patricia. Feeling better?
Yes, thank you, Cecily. Much better. Somehow things always fall into place, don't they?
If you say so. Anyway, we have a letter again that you might want to hear. Oh, Sandra, are you staying too?
Yes, I want to stay. Thank you.
Tell them, Sandra.
I was told, I can be a little, well, how shall I say, overly fond of rules. So,
Did you ever fight with Zoe?
yes. And she said I should learn to be less of a stick in the mud.
Don't worry, Sandra. Everything will be fine, and you'll soon enjoy this and learn to flout rules once in a while.
Sensible plan. Shall we then?
Yes, please. Get it over with.
Today we have a letter from Mrs. Vernon to Lady de Courcy. She does write often, doesn't she?
She always has. You just never bothered until recently.
Oh, well. Oh, this is a very long letter. Shall we then? We have a very unexpected guest with us at present, my dear mother. He arrived yesterday. I heard a carriage at the door as I was sitting with my children while they dined, and supposing I should be wanted, left the nursery soon afterwards, and was halfway downstairs when Frederica, as pale as ashes, came running up and rushed by me into her own room. I instantly followed and asked her what was the matter. "Oh," said she, "he is come. Sir James is come, and what shall I do?" This was no explanation. I begged her to tell me what she meant. At that moment we were interrupted by a knock at the door. It was Reginald, who came by Lady Susan's direction to call Frederica down. "It is Mr. de Courcy," said she, colouring violently. "Mamma has sent for me. I must go." We all three went down together, and I saw my brother examining the terrified face of Frederica with surprise. In the breakfast room we found Lady Susan and a young man of gentlemanlike appearance, whom she introduced by the name of Sir James Martin, the very person, as you may remember, whom it was said she had been at pains to detach from Miss Mainwaring, but the conquest, it seems, was not designed for herself, or she has since transferred it to her daughter, for Sir James is now desperately in love with Frederica, and with full encouragement from mamma. The poor girl, however, I am sure, dislikes him, and though his person and address are very well, he appears, both to Mr. Vernon and me, a very weak young man. Frederica looked so shy, so confused, when we entered the room, that I left for her exceedingly. Lady Susan behaved with great attention to her visitor, and yet I thought I could perceive that she had no particular pleasure in seeing him. Sir James talked a great deal, and made many civil excuses to me.
Michael!
For the liberty he had taken in coming to Churchill, mixing more frequent laughter with his discourse than the subject required, said many things over and over again, and told Lady Susan 3 times that he had seen Mrs. Johnson a few evenings before. He now and then addressed Frederica, but more frequently her mother. The poor girl sat all this time without opening her lips, her eyes cast down, and her colour varying every instant, while Reginald observed all that passed in perfect silence. At length Lady Susan, weary, I believe, of her situation, proposed walking, and we left the 2 gentlemen together to put on our pelisses. As we went upstairs, Lady Susan begged permission to attend me for a few moments in my dressing room, as she was anxious to speak with me in private. I led her thither accordingly, and as soon as the door was closed, she said, "I was never more surprised in my life than by Sir James' arrival, and the suddenness of it requires some apology to you, my dear sister, though to me, as a mother, it is highly flattering. He is so extremely attached to my daughter that he could not exist longer without seeing her."
Yeah, right. Couldn't exist no longer without seeing her.
That's very unfortunate for Frederica, I should think.
Well, probably, yeah.
Sir James is a young man of an amiable disposition and excellent character. A little too much of the rattle, perhaps, but a year or 2 will rectify that. And he is in other respects so very eligible a match for Frederica, that I have always observed his attachment with greatest pleasure, and am persuaded that you and my brother will give the alliance your hearty approbation. I have never before mentioned the likelihood of its taking place to anyone, because I thought that whilst Frederica continued at school, it had better not be known to exist. But now, as I am convinced that Frederica is too old ever to submit to school confinement, and have, therefore, begun to consider her union with Sir James as not very distant, I had intended within a few days to acquaint yourself and Mr. Vernon with the whole business. I am sure, my dear sister, you will excuse my remaining silent so long, and agree with me that such circumstances, while they continue from any cause in suspense, cannot be too cautiously concealed. When you have the happiness of bestowing your sweet little Catherine some years hence on a man who in connection and character is alike unexceptionable, you will know what I feel now, though, thank heaven, you cannot have all my reasons for rejoicing in such an event. Catherine will be empty provided for you, and not like my Frederica, indebted to a fortunate establishment for the comforts of life. She concluded by demanding my congratulations. I gave them somewhat awkwardly, I believe, for in fact the sudden disclosure of such important a matter took from me the power of speaking with any clearness. She thanked me, however, most affectionately for my kind concern in the welfare of herself and daughter, and then said, "I am not apt to deal in professions, my dear Mrs. Vernon, and I never had the convenient talent of affecting sensations foreign to my heart, and therefore I trust you will believe me when I declare that much as I had heard in your praise before I knew you, I had no idea that I should ever love you as I now do. And I must further say that your friendship towards me is more particularly gratifying because I have reason to believe that some attempts were made to prejudice you against me. I only wish that they, whoever they are, to whom I am indebted for such kind attentions, could see the terms on which we now are together and understand the real affection we feel for each other, but I will not detain you any longer. God bless you for your goodness to me and my girl, and continue to you all your present happiness. What can one say of such a woman, my dear mother? Such earnestness, such solemnity of expression, and yet I cannot help suspecting the truth of everything she says. As for Reginald, I believe he does not know what to make of the matter. When Sir James came, he appeared all astonishment and perplexity. The folly of the young man and the confusion of Frederica entirely engrossed him, and though a little private discourse with Lady Susan has since had its effect, he is still hurt, I am sure, at her allowing such a man's attention to her daughter. Sir James invited himself with great composure to remain here a few days. Hoped we would not think it odd, was aware of his being very impertinent, but he took the liberty of a relation, and concluded by wishing, with a laugh, that he might be really one very soon. Even Lady Susan seemed a little disconcerted by this forwardness. In her heart, I am persuaded she sincerely wished him gone. But something must be done for this poor girl. If her feelings are such as both I and her uncle believe them to be, she must not be sacrificed to policy or ambition, and she must not be left to suffer from the dread of it. The girl whose heart can distinguish Reginald de Courcy deserves, however he may slight of her, a better fate than to be Sir James Martin's wife. As soon as I can get her alone, I will discover the real truth, but she seems to wish to avoid me. I hope this does not proceed from anything wrong, and that I shall not find out I have thought too well of her. Her behaviour to Sir James certainly speaks to the greatest consciousness and embarrassment, but I see nothing in it more like encouragement. Adieu, my dear mother. Yours, Kerstin-Anja Münderlein.
I really kind of pity her.
Yeah, so do I. Poor Mrs. Vernon, seeing her niece so ill-used.
I mean, Frederica, duh.
Huh? Oh, yeah, sure. Not true.
She was here. She just left. This is so exciting.
Who?
Frederica. Go on, girl. Tell us more. She had a letter and she gave it to Jacob. He'll be here any moment. He's still booting the computer in his office.
Why isn't he just joining one of us?
Cecily, you wouldn't be curious about that letter now, would you?
Certainly not. I was merely thinking of the electricity bill. Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, sure.
Catherine?
Old people, I swear.
Good afternoon, all.
Hey, there
As
you are.
Isabella already told you, the most extraordinary thing happened just now. The dear Miss Vernon came to my office to post a letter to Mr. Reginald de Courcy.
Wait a minute. She came here to post a letter for someone at the house where she's staying herself.
Yes.
Why would she do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, ma'am, maybe she doesn't want the people in the house to know that she wrote to him. That's so romantic.
Oh, in that case, she could have simply put the letter in his room. That is a bit silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Jacob, let's hear it.
It's very short and, well, neatly written. Sir, I hope you will excuse this liberty. I am forced upon it by the greatest distress, or I should be ashamed to trouble you. I am very miserable about Sir James Martin, and have no other way in the world of helping myself but by writing to you, for I am forbidden even speaking to my uncle, and on the subject. And this being the case, I am afraid my applying to you will appear no better than equivocation, and as if I attended to the letter and not the spirit of Mamma's commands. But if you do not take my part and persuade her to break it off, I shall be half distracted, for I cannot bear him. Well, if my dear Ethel ever talked about me that way, I shall not like it. No human being but you could have any chance of prevailing with her. If you will, therefore, have the unspeakably great kindness of taking my part with her and persuading her to send Sir James away, I shall be more obliged to you than it is possible for me to express. I always disliked him from the first. It is not a sudden fancy, I assure you, sir. I always thought him silly and impertinent and disagreeable, and now he is grown worse than ever. I should rather work for my bread than marry him.
Ha! You go, girl. You don't need a man.
Well, you certainly don't. I do not know how to apologize enough for this letter. I know it is taking so great a liberty. I am aware how dreadfully angry it will make Mamma, but I remember the risk. I am, sir, your most humble servant, Frederica Vernon.
Well, I never.
There's some news.
Poor, distressed girl. I cannot imagine.
Reginald will surely help her.
It can't be as bad as that, can it?
This is such a tragedy. Poor Frederica.
Well, it's certainly surprising. We will keep you posted if anything new comes in. Now, Michael, girls, shall we?
Should we also go? Aren't you normally discussing the letters?
No, not today, Sandra. Best be off then. Ta-ta.
Can I call you later and discuss this, Isabella?
Yes, please. Any time after 5 would be good. Talk to you later.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.